Hello, my beautiful crafty friends. It's Lorette, the Vintage Paper Girl. Welcome to my studio. Well, I'm really happy that you're here. I just realized I need to take note of the time because you know how it is. Let's see, what time is it? It's 2:52, so we would go to 3, we'll say 3:45, which would be, no, that can't be right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, 3:45. That way, if I go over a few minutes, we won't, just because I have other things to do. Remember, I told you I have boxes to get to. So anyway, welcome to my studio. Welcome to all my new subscribers, and hugs and kisses to all of my returning subscribers who watch me all the time and who send me love and hugs and who send me comments and likes and thumbs up and all those good things. So welcome everyone. Well, today's project, I can't say is a quick one, but it's going to be a fun one. So we will talk about it in just a minute. And before we do, we're going to make some pretty vellum baggies that are decorated for Christmas with little cards and things in them. So we're going to, we're going to work on that. And I'm going to be using Rachel at Roxy Creations papers that I have printed onto some vellum. You can use tracing paper. You can use whatever you have. Or can buy it already pre-printed. There's all kinds of things out on the market for vellum. So especially on from plain vellum to printed vellum on Amazon. And I don't know about the craft stores because I haven't been into one in forever. So I'm going to set those off to the side for a minute. I want to show you the two cards that I finished after our last video. I finished these last two. They were the ones that I didn't have done and I didn't really want to go way over. So because I was hungry, needed my lunch. So here they are, and I did go ahead and did some stenciling on the back, but I also stenciled some of the white space on this one, and then I added the doily, and I inked those. So these are ready to go. I may or may not add, a whale tail at some point. Kind of just depends on where they're going to, and if they call for it. So they're going to stay as is for right now. So these two are done, and these were the ones and these are all made from scrapbooking paper, 6x6 and 8x8. So these are some of the other ones that we made in my last video. I'm going to go back over those just to show you. These have some tabs. I did put a few in. And then these have some doily tab toppers. So tag toppers? Yeah, that's it. Tag toppers? Something like that. Then what I did on the back of all these is I did do a little bit of stenciling since it is a white background and a little bit of inking so that someone could write right over it because it's so light, or write on it. So this is what the backs ended up looking like. Aren't they cute? Okay, so there we have it. So these were all the ones we did in our last video. So if you missed that video, go back and watch it. And I think it was like making journaling cards from 6x6 scrapbook paper or something like that. So yeah, you can find those pretty easily in my playlist, or yeah, not playlist, but where my videos are, wherever that is. Anyhow, whatever you call that. So these are done. So I was able to do, and these last two cards that I finished, I was able to do in like 15 minutes. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in about an hour, I did 8 cards. So I was pretty happy with that. That's a very quick way to do journaling cards. And they're nice and thin. They're not thick at all. So they'll go into the altered journal I'm doing. Altered book journal. I also was talking about the scrapbook papers I was using. And so I went and found the paper pads that I use for these. And they came out of these. These are from Hobby Lobby. So I believe these are all Paper Studio. Yeah, I believe these are all Hobby Lobby. So those are what I used for my projects. As you can see, I had wanted to get some more because I see some pieces that I really liked and I could see me using again. So anyway, I don't think they would have these anymore. I think these are 3 years old. But if you go there, you can, or go online and see what they do have. And these are the 6x6s. And then I did have a couple of the pieces, I believe, came from, did they here? No, they came from the big paper pad, the 8x8 paper pads that I have also of one of these. I think one of these I got in an 8x8. So they did have some bigger pads that I used. I'm looking to see, like the polka dots and stuff. Yeah, those came from the bigger paper pad. So that's where I got some of the pieces. So anyway, I thought I would share those with you so you could see what's available out there. These are the older ones, but sometimes you can find these on the internet from eBay. People don't use them or whatever, and they sell them, or de-stash groups. Sometimes you can find the same ones. So if there's something that caught your fancy, that's what those are. And I may be using some today. So we're going to get going, and I hope you're all well and happy. What are you guys up to today? How are you? I hope everybody's good. Hope you had a great week. Possibly you're seeing this on Friday. I'm not really sure. So kind of just depends on how I do with my filming. Alrighty. So to make these, I don't want the white. I'm going to cut those off. I don't have my big cutting, Big Bertha's not in here. She is in my sewing studio, because I was cutting the blue fern papers with that, because those are the 12x12s and they're huge. So as I'm working on that journal, and I'm hoping to show that to you very, very soon. Like I said, I had to quit for a little bit. Now I'm back, so hopefully we will get that moving. I also kind of wanted to wait till Gail finished hers before I started mine. So, all right, now I have to decide how big I want these. If I took this whole piece, which I was thinking about doing, I can only have it 4.5. So I'm going to waste some, and I really don't want to waste any. So I do have my, excuse me a minute here. I do have my thing here. Probably maybe take off 2 inches, I would think, to make it, because these are 11. And if I fold them to get to be about 4 or 4.5, yeah, I'm going to be, maybe we'll leave about, why don't we leave about 3 inches? We'll take 3 inches off. Let's see if that gives us a good size baggie. I don't want it to be a tiny little bag. I want it to be, I'm trying to figure out which is the top and which is the bottom. I cannot tell. Look at this. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you guys, I just knocked my basket on the floor. Hold on a minute. Well, at least it did not roll away with everything in it. Now, I'm going to want to meet these kind of in the middle. And, well, maybe not the middle. Close. Let's see what we get for width. 3.5. Well, that's a little more narrow. I could have left an inch. Could have left another inch. I think I could have just took off, let's see, I took off 3. I could have just took off 2, and it might have given me a wider one. So we'll do that on the next one. And then let's see, I'm trying to figure out what's upside down or right side up on this print. I'm going to go this way as the top. So how tall is this? This is 8. I really don't want it 8. I should have cut it off before I folded it. I only want it to be about 6. So that's 7. Let's see. When I cut off the 7.5, 6. So I need to cut off about 1.5 inches. So let me do 1.5 inches we'll cut off. Okay, so we're going to have scraps of that we can use on different projects, and that's just fine, right? All right, so what I want to do now is I want to create the bottom of my bag. And I don't know, I'm not really measuring too much because I don't like to measure. Takes all the fun out of it, but I think I just made a crooked mess out of that. Let's see, hold on. Come on, you. Oh my goodness. Being a stinker. So how much do we end up with here? 5.5. I need to remember when I cut that I don't have to get it that small. And I folded it up about 1/2 inch. So I want a decent sized flap. Now we don't need all of this excess, so I'm going to cut just above my thing, cut it at an angle, cut it at an angle, and cut above that, all right? So that we can put that in there and glue it down. I'm going to use my little, very carefully, because a lot of times this will cut. And we don't want to cut that. We want it to be burnished, but we don't want it to be cut. All right. And then I'm going to put a little, I may put a thumb notch at the top, because this can be used as either, I was thinking kind of a fold down bag, but if I was going to do that, I'm a dingbat, I shouldn't have cut any off. Okay, so I haven't done this before, so this is a new thing for me. So, maybe we'll make this one. I'd make it an awful small baggie, but I guess we could do it. Let's just turn it down. This one's going to be a small bag for sure, because it's a good inch. I turned it down an inch. We're going to do the same thing we just did. And we're going to cut out this, but I'm going to cut it out a little bit rounder. And I'll trim this side in just a minute. And I'm going to kind of round it out a little bit. Okay, so something that you can do is kind of hold it together, since I haven't done any gluing yet, and I can trim them to match. That did not help. Okay. It's going to kind of keep playing until you get it the way you want it. There we go. All right. I'm going to have a lot of little scraps to play with, aren't I? So then for our top, I want to round those corners. I don't know if my corner rounder will do this or not, so we'll see. Or if it'll even go in there. It does not want to go in there. So I just barely tweaked the top. Okay, I cut a little short here, but that's all right. We're just playing right now. And now we're ready to do some gluing. Now I have to decide what kind of glue do I want to use. I want something clear. So we will see how this does on this. I want a fairly dry glue, so I don't know if this is considered a dry glue or not. Okay. And then we're just barely going to put any glue on the edges here. Now this makes a great coin pocket or a pocket, or it makes a bag, you know, with a flap. And you can decorate this side, or you can decorate this side, put something on it. Either way, I think I'm looking at maybe just decorating the front, because it's supposed to be a baggie that you could put a card in or something like that. It's just a little extra something to slip into your journal. Okay, we made that one. Let's try another one. Let's see if I can do a better job with this one. Because I'm not going to, this time I'm not going to cut much off of the side. I just printed these just before the video, so while I was having lunch, so I didn't have time. I can't find, I know I printed a bunch of these and I cannot find them. I don't know what I put them into. Because these are backgrounds you can use any time of the year. She kind of created them at Christmas, but they can be used on anything. Because they're not a true red, and the green's sort of a blue-green, so it could be used really anytime, botanically, or however you want, with flowers or words, any kind of look. So this time, if I just do that edge, I think that's going to be just a tiny bit too big. So we're only going to cut off about 1.5 inches this time. Let's try that. 1.5 inches. And I'm not going to cut off anything from the top because I don't feel like we need to do that. I'm going to have a nice little pile of those scraps. That'll be fun. I'm going to put that up there for now. These are inspired by Rachel at Roxy Creations. She did these a few years ago, a year or so ago. And I wanted to try them at the time, but just didn't have time to do it. So let me see. Yeah, okay, so if we just kind of go to the edge, I just want to go over just a bit with the finished, you know, the edge there. Let's see, where are we at? Yep, right at 4.5, right where I want to be. So that's as big as we would want to go if we want to put that on a journal page, right? And then, looks like the words are right set up that way. So we're going to want to do our inch at the bottom. Inch and a half, excuse me. It seems like this end I just always get lower. I don't know what the deal with that is. So yes, I did, but I'm going to be trimming that so I can trim it up and it'll be the right size when I'm done. Then we have to decide how much of a top do we want down. On this one, I might want a longer flap. So I'm thinking about 1.5 inches on this. So I'm going to fold it down now. So we'll do all of our folding first. And I don't remember how Rachel did these, so I'm just winging it. All right, so this is how I'm going to do it. We're making a lot of envelopes over time. So I'm going to go above the line. I'm going to cut above that line. And then I'm going to angle it. I might have angled that a bit too much. We'll see. And just above the line. And hopefully that is enough. We'll see. Yeah, but don't angle it too much over here because then it doesn't cover like it should. So got a little carried away with my scissors there, but it's not a problem right now. All right, so now when we cut, I don't want to do anything with that yet. So now when we cut this top bit, we don't need these outside pieces because this is going to be our flap. So I think what I'm going to do this time, let's see if we can get smart about it. I don't know. No, I can't do it. Okay, I'm just looking at that. I'm going to kind of curve it a little. And I'm going to come straight up so I get a good corner this time. Because last time I messed that up. And I'm going to curve it just a little bit. So that you can get things in and out of the envelope. Because if it's dead even, you can't. And it's a big pain. Okay, so I've got a little too much curve going here. Straighten that out. Yeah, that meets nicely. I probably want to take just a bit more off of this one. Because we want some room up here to put things in and out. If it's up flush, it's real difficult to get your stuff in and out of your baggie. So you just keep doing what I'm doing until you get a nice smiley face there. Okay. Hope you're all good and everybody's well. And you guys are hopefully crafting, getting ready for the holidays soon. It is, what week is this? This is the second week of November. Can you believe it already? Oh my gosh. And 2 more weeks before Thanksgiving, and then we're into the month of December. Goodness gracious. I better get busy. I'm going to run out of time to get everything done. Ugh. You always think, I have tons of time. And then I'm really bad at gauging my time lately since I've gotten older and I don't work outside the home. I don't have kids in school, so time just flies by. And I think, oh, I have time to write that bill or do that, send that card or whatever. And oops, not so much. And I want to make sure I didn't just glue that down because I kind of overshot the runway with the Fabri-Tac. I'm using it because it's clear, and it looks like on this last one, you don't see the glue at all. So that's awesome. Okay, so now, and it doesn't, the Fabri-Tac doesn't seem to pucker the vellum, where I tried some of the other glues and they all pucker the vellum. So this was the only one I found that did not pucker the vellum. And I thought that's what I remembered. So I got a funny little, I don't know what that was or where it came from. Oh, I meant to do this before I did that. Now you can either round it on your own or put it into the rounder, the corner rounder. I'm going to put it in the corner rounder. That way our flap is good. There we go. Now I got the envelope I was looking for the first time. So I really only needed to cut off 1.5 inches and then keep my height because this only ended up being 5.5 inches tall with turning the 1 inch down. So, you know, we've got 2 sizes, which is fabulous. I'm trying to think about how many of these I want to make. I'll make a total of 4. If we have time, we'll decorate them. I have 2 more prints we haven't used yet, so let's use those 2. There are more. There are a lot more. These are just the darkest prints, which I wanted to use because when you put an image on here, let's say we have Santa here, and we put Santa on here, I wanted the background to show. Now, you could do it in clear vellum if you would like. It's totally up to you. Oh, this is pretty. I see her. She would be gorgeous on here. Okay, I found my first 2 images. Alrighty, let's see what else we can do, right? All right, let me, there's my scissors. Let me get these cut. I'll just go ahead and cut them both. And I'll go a little faster, hopefully this time, now that I know what the heck I'm doing. This is becoming very much a process video. Watching my process as I create these to use in my journals. And I think this is probably going to be it for the ephemera making for a little bit. Hello, which side is the top? Oh, that's the top there. Looks like, this looks like the ink went, wish I could read the words because then I'd know if they were backwards. Yeah, this way. Okay. I think this is probably it for ephemera making for a little bit until I get all my journals loaded, and then I may have to do more after that. You've seen me make quite a few things. Oh, I do have some little seed packets I do want to decorate for different sizes because I do have some smaller pockets that need filling, and you know, it's not one size fits all, as you know. I do want to decorate these little guys, but you know, I'm going to have all of these leftover pieces, which would be fun to decorate these with. So there's a good chance we're going to do that. All right. What time did I say? 3:40. Okay, we got time. We're doing well. Hopefully you didn't just hear my tummy growl because I just fed it, so it needs to be quiet. I don't know why it does that. All right, so we want 1.5 inches off of these. I won't do them together. I was going to, and I thought with my luck, one will move, and then I'll be all messed up, right? I don't know if this is a true 1.5 inches right here. Well, I think this is 1.5 inches. I'm not really sure what it is I just cut off, but it's good enough. It works. Whatever it is, it worked fine. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm excited about the images I have there to go on there. I also have a bunch of images from Dreams, etc. that I would like to use. Why does that just not seem like the right print? Oh, I guess. Seems like this is the right. Yeah, that's the right, but it seems like the words are backwards. Oh well, we're gonna do what we gotta do. And we're gonna turn it. So what are you guys up to? You're having a good... Yeah, my stomach is not happy with lunch, apparently. My husband brought me some yummy Subway. We always do Subway on a Friday, which is when I'm making this video. So, I usually do a pretty plain sandwich. I don't do anything too fancy, so... I just had a turkey cheese thing. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see. Did I just... pretty close. What's my measurements on this? 4. Okay. What's this one? 4 1/4. Weird. I don't know. These will work. Either way, they're going to work. They're fine. Let me see what the width is on this one. Oh, the same. I don't know. Maybe it's the print. It looks different to me. Isn't that strange? Isn't that the strangest thing? How you're doing it and you look at it and you go, wait, that looks really weird to me. I'm looking at where the print is. Okay, to make sure I'm doing the right side. I made the bottom a little bit bigger this time. And then we'll turn this down about 1.5 inches like we did last time. I'm just eyeballing it. Yeah, right around 1.5 inches. A little bit, might be a smidge over. Okay, then I'll go cut these at the same time, glue them at the same time, and we'll be done with that part. Then we will start the decoration, and this will be it for the ephemera for a bit. So... I know you guys are probably sick of watching ephemera, but it's what I'm doing right now. So if y'all want a video, here it is. If you don't have to watch it. I mean, you can fast forward through it. It's okay. I understand. I hope you won't, because you know what? The way I make ephemera can be made for anything. It doesn't just have to be Christmas. If you don't do Christmas, just use botanicals or whatever you have is just fine. Okay, and then we're going to do... I just want to make sure I don't get too crazy with this turn down up here. Yeah, that's working. But then that'll be it. And I'm working on a couple journals, and then, I'll be on to winter, and then I'll be done with the Christmas bit. I won't be doing Christmas in December, I don't think. I do have some design teamwork to do, so I'm not sure what... I think I have design teamwork to do. I don't really know if there's going to be any more kits or what the deal is, so we'll see. Okay, that's good. So then we just have this up here. And I do want to just take a little bit of a... I could always make it bigger, but this time I want to make sure I make that dead straight so that I can get my corners with my corner rounder. Okay, I definitely need to take some of this down. All right. Once you get going, they go pretty quick if you mass make them, because, you've got down your measurements and what you want it to look like and how tall and all that. Yeah, see, that gives me a little scoop here to put things in and out. This could use a little more scoop. I don't need all that little bit, right? I need that. But these will work on other things. Okay, that's set. Whoops, I got to do the bottom still, but that's all right. You could do either the top or the bottom first if there is no set how-to here. And then we're going to put this up here. There we are. That keeps the consistency. I do have to trim that little edge right there, though. It's a little funky where I folded it. There we go. All right, so now I do have to fix this bottom because I kind of left a edge on there. I don't know if you guys are seeing this or if I'm on or off camera. Honestly, I have no idea. I hope you're seeing everything I'm doing. Oh, I have it up to my nose and it just dawned on me. You might not have seen any of that. I hope you did. Okay. I can always do it again if I didn't do well. Always do one in a video if you guys say, hey, you were off the whole time. I couldn't see a single thing. But you have to say you couldn't see any of it. All right. I need this to be a small bead because I didn't give myself very much. Oh, I wanted to do the other side, but oh well, okay. I didn't give myself enough room. Barely meets. Barely meets. Ugh. And now I need to make sure that I didn't just close it all up. No, I didn't. Kind of put the roller under there to keep the glue off of this side. The nice thing is with this glue, it does roll off here pretty nicely. Oh, that was a gluey mess. I did a terrible job on that, you guys. Let's see, do I have a wet one? Is my wet one still wet or did it dry out? It's a little still wet. Ooh, goodness. I ran the ink when I did that. Ah, well, that'll cover it. Don't use a wet one on vellum ink because you lose your ink up here. Oh my goodness. I just learned a lesson. Okay. I'll just, once it's dry, I will use some ink on it. Distress ink. I pulled off my color there. I had no idea that could happen. Yeah, I'll just distress that real good in a minute. All right. You have to be careful using this Fabri-Tac too. Well, this is how you learn. Do not get your vellum wet with anything because you will lose your color. This is a dry wet one. The other one was a wet one and it took off the color. Whoops. Now let's make sure this is still open. Oh no, it wants to glue itself shut. Maybe I'll leave that in there for a minute. I want to make sure this is open still. Yeah, look at the ink on my hands. It came off. Well, this is a new one. I never had any problem with my ink sticking to my vellum before. This is printable vellum. Bought it on Amazon. Printable vellum, it says. Do go back and check to make sure that you're staying open. We'll let that dry for a little bit. Oh my goodness. Here, there's my wet one. Let's get that ink off because I don't want to transfer that to anything else. Yeah, see, look at that green ink came off. Look at that green ink. Oh, goodness. Okay. I don't want to get that on anything else that I'm making here. Have a dry one. I'm going to get a drink of water here. Voice is dry today. It's dry out. It's about 70 degrees. Very nice day here in California. All right, let's cut this one and finish our last envelope before we run out of time. Oh, I did not mean to cut that like that. The scissors slip on this vellum. It's very slippery. Yep, that works out okay. I gave myself a little tiny bit more fold on this one, but shoot, not enough. Well, it's enough. I could just use more. Let's cut up here. Like you see, I cut out a little bit of a curve here. So we have room to put our tags and things in, or whatever we're going to put in the envelope. Oh gosh, darn it. These scissors are a menace. I should have used something smaller. Alrighty. And let's kind of fold it without putting a crease. We don't want to crease it. See if we can get that into the corner rounder. You could do them individually because it's a consistent corner rounder, but I just feel like seems like every time I have to take care of that little curve right there. Oh. That's still too high. There we go. We got a little bit of a smile to give us a little room. And there's another one of your little baggies. Cute, right? Perfect. All right, so let's glue this stuff in. And then yeah, that feels like it's dry. Make sure everything is dry. It feels like they're all dry. All right, so we just have one small bag and then these bigger bags. And let's try not to put so much Fabri-Tac on here. So I always put a little bit on this edge and a little bit on this edge, so there's nothing for anything to catch onto when you go to put your card in your bag. And we are going to stick that ruler in there again just to make sure I didn't glue it shut. No, I didn't. Very important. And then let's just do these edges. Okay. Ugh. It always seeps out. No matter how hard I try not to put much on there. I tried to put a very small bead, but that nozzle isn't as fine as the art glitter glue. All right, our bags are complete. I will say this vellum creases down beautifully. It goes down gorgeous. Now this I'm feeling bad about here. I may have to put some lace or something on here. Let me see. Yeah, you could just put a little distress ink on it. I do see a very uneven top here. I want to trim. It's weird, but I feel like this vellum actually stretches. Is that strange or what? Sorry guys, I'm really quiet today. Tired today. It's, you know, when you're doing the end of the week and it's easy to get really tired and not have a lot to say. The week was busy as always, you know, so just the usual chores and cats and grandkids and, you know, nothing exciting happening. If something exciting happens, of course, I will share it with you guys. Soon we'll be talking about Christmas and Christmas decorations and all that stuff, but I don't want to overwhelm you with that yet. It's a little soon for that. It's not too soon to make things, but as far as the decorating and stuff, I'm not ready for that. I do want to make sure I have a nice Thanksgiving, and then I'll move on to, for you Americans, we do celebrate Thanksgiving, so And not everybody in America celebrates Thanksgiving, so it's not everybody even. I am going to ink these so they get a little aging. Might as well do it while I have the ink out. I was thinking about using some other colors on this, but I don't think I am. I think I'm going to just keep it Vintage Photo. I did bring in some burgundy, like a burgundy color, and like a dark forest green to use on these. Well, I've done 2 in this, so maybe I could do, let's see how that would look with those other inks. We'll try that in just a minute for the other 2 that I haven't done yet. This is a new ink pad, and it isn't loaded. Oh, you know what? Look at that. It is pulling the red and the green from here. So the ink is not... Huh, I don't know. Look what I'm getting on my hands. That's weird. I've never had that happen before. Sometimes I wonder if it's the ink from the ink cartridges that just doesn't stay. Whoa, I now have red on this brand new. I might have to change that. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, anyway, let's try something. The color is Aged Mahogany. And I'm thinking we could put that on the edges of this one. It's sort of a red, but it's a red-brown. Ooh, sort of a burgundy red-brown. And it's a nice color. I don't know if you could see it or not in the camera. I don't know if you could see this right here. So I actually pulled these colors to use on my my other journal that I'm working on. What was I just going to do? I saw something I needed to correct, but I don't know what it was. It'll come to me. I will tell you, this Fabri-Tac is not drying quickly on these little things. Interesting. Well, it's a different color. I like it, I think. That end did not glue. Neither did that end. I must have missed the glue because it's glued everywhere else. I hope this Fabri-Tac is going to work on this vellum. If not, I will have to switch over to the other one. Okay, so these are inked. Just making sure. And then I have this brand new color by Tim Holtz that just came out. I guess he just showed this year. I missed the video that he did, which is unusual for me. I usually always see the videos, but I think I was busy or something and I didn't see it. So his new color is Rustic Wilderness. It's kind of a deeper, darker green. Oh, I do like it. It's not a Christmas green, which is nice. You know, that bright, bright green. I mean, it's bright, but it's not horrible. And if I feel like it's too bright, I can always go over it with Vintage Photo and then, oh, what a beautiful color that will be. So I'm holding this very carefully because I'm just not sure how much, if it'll stick to the vellum. I've never had it have a problem before, but I seem to be having issues with this one. It could be the ink cartridge I'm using this time too. The problem with the ink program is sometimes I get some really doozies. So there's the green. If you do it in the green, this is what you get. Okay, so, oh gosh, I don't know. All right, so those are my new colors that I just got. I got the green in an oxide. I don't know if I got it in the oxide and the distress ink or just the distress ink. Maybe I just got it in the distress. Sorry guys, I'm going to try to get some of this black stuff off my hands that came off of those envelopes. That is just weird. I've never had that happen before. Well, you learn something new every day. So I had picked out this one for this. And I definitely want to ink her, but I don't want her in the colors. I think I'm going to just let her be in the, oh, the reason it's red is because I grabbed my red one. Oh gosh, I grabbed the wrong ink pad. That was my vintage, or what was that? Oh, I don't know what that was. Victorian Velvet. I grabbed the wrong thing. No wonder I saw red. Okay, it's been a long week. I'm ready to rest. Ready to rest. Ready to have a quiet weekend. You all have a fabulous weekend. What are you guys doing this weekend? Anything exciting? I think we have another week or so before we start getting ready for our holiday decorating, so I got a little time to go. Let's do a little inking on these guys. Where was I going to put that? I was going to put that on him, wasn't I? Yeah, I kind of like that. So then we need some images for these others. I don't know which one of these this is. Okay, now these are my other images. These are not Rachel's. These are Dreams, etc. And I have a lot of images here. So let's see what I've got. They're a little too retro-y. Like not vintage enough. And I mean, it's not that there's anything wrong with that. I guess I could do some, but this paper is kind of, well, he's too tall for that. So I do need a little fat fellow like that. What about him? Will he go over here? No. All right, what else have I got? Oh, that's where the candy canes are. Okay, don't mind me. I kept seeing them in videos going, whose are those? And I didn't know whose they were. They are hers. Okay, so these are my smaller images. I need some bigger images. Let's see. Where did I get these from? Okay, I'll just throw those in there because I don't know where I pulled this out of. Oh, gosh. These are some of the bigger images. What have I got here? Ooh. That's pretty. I'd have to cut it a little. It's not fussy cut yet. I don't have a lot of time, so I don't know. I got pretty bells, but they go down the side. What have I got here? Oh, this is gorgeous. Hold on. I might not use Santa. I think I've got some other things going here. Move that off to the side a little. Oh, I love that. That's really pretty on there. Let's see, what else have I got here? I have this gorgeous holly. Oh man, this is going to be a toss-up. All of these look fabulous on here. Got that. What else have I got? Oh, this is pretty. I've got several of these. I could just cut it down the tiniest bit. No, I like that on there. I think I'm hooked on that. Or possibly that. Okay, it's a toss-up between those two. So I won't decide right this minute. I'm going to see what else I have in here. Ah, there they go onto the floor. Oh dear. Okay. Oh, I have a fabulous bell, but that's just way too big. Either the image is too big or I've got these up against me, or too small. And I just threw a ton of stuff onto the floor. Oh, excuse me a minute. Oh my gosh, you guys. Getting old is absolutely not for sissies, I'm telling you. Okay, let's put these back in here. Oh, wrong one. Get in there. I mean it. Get in the bag. What the heck? You guys, I'm making a huge mess. Oh, these are all really big images. None of these will work on here, but I do have cards that could go in the bags. Okay, so we'll go back to those in a minute. I do have our Santa, which we're not going to use, so I'm going to put him back into the envelope I just took him out of, because it's too contemporary, and I really want some vintage-looking pieces, because everything I'm doing this year has been vintage. I will be doing some retros. I just haven't got there yet. So, okay. I'm only going to probably have time to do one. I'm almost out of time, you guys. So I'm just going to do, I think I'll just do this one because I just don't have time to finish. But you could see what, you know, what you could do with these. I'll just lay these up here. I don't know. I'm still stuck on those. So let me just put him on there and maybe a little bit of, I don't know if I want anything at all under him. I don't know. I'm struggling with that. The big thing was to show you the baggies, and then that you could just, I'm thinking he's just going to go on there like that, maybe. I don't know. All right, let me try one thing. And oh, I'm horrible at ripping. Should just use a ruler or a cutter. Really. And I don't know if I'm putting this on upside down or right side up because I'm just not taking the time to look. And I really don't care for when it's just a background like this. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, we'll just do it like that. It's good. It's all good. All right. Okay. Oh, kids are home early today. Huh. My husband said he saw a lot of kids running around town and thought it was kind of strange that they should be in school. But I told him, well, some of the schools get out earlier than others, and some kids are being taught at home now. So not everybody goes off to school like they used to. And then there are some in private schools around here. So a lot of kids in private school around here. So there we go. We could add a word or a sentence or something like that if we want. I'm hoping that will stick on there. I mean, I've never had a problem with art glitter glue sticking to the vellum that I use. So there you go. Now, the only thing we would do at this point is maybe add a little... Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on. Hold, please. I will be with you momentarily. My book was on the floor and I couldn't reach it. Okay, let me find, aha. I was thinking some stuff like this. I have a bunch of this kind of stuff. Some of this is from Artie Mays. So, and they're all in that same vintage era. Let me see, is this sticking? Well, it would if I went all the way to the edge, wouldn't it? Yeah, I didn't put glue all the way to the edge. Well, shame on me. All right. Let's wipe that off because I don't want to lose that. So what we could do is take one of these little mini cards and stick it right inside of here. and you're all set and ready to go. You can put 1 or 2 or 10 or however many you want in there. Got a nice little card in there, and you can either turn it around where it shows or doesn't show because of the image. It really doesn't matter which way you put it in. You could put a little circle here to keep it, to help it stay closed. Let me see if I have I did cut some circles, but of course now that I need it, I don't see it. Well, I just have this one, but let's just say you had a little circle here so that you can keep your little envelope closed. I'll have to cut some that'll match this. That would look good in here. So there you have it, our little baggie, our vintage bags that we made from Vellum. I think they're going to be really fun. I will share those with you when I get them all done, but I am running out of time and I'm pretty tired, so I think I'm going to call it a video today. And this should be it for the ephemera. When I'm working on my next project, I'll show you these before I get going so that you can see what I did and see how they turned out, and then, you know, what I ended up, you know, what cute little goodies I ended up putting inside. So as you can see, there's a lot of little cards and things here that I've got all kinds of stuff like that to put inside these. I even have some really pretty bigger ones that I got from Artie Mays. She's got some beautiful, pretty little cards that I got from one of her kits. So we'll have to see what I end up putting inside all of these to see what goes well with it. But anyway, I think that's it for today, ladies. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and please take care of yourselves. And I love you all, and thank you for coming along, and hugs and kisses, you guys. See you very soon. Bye-bye.